Autobots, roll out!
In a cold, faraway world, a battle is raging between evil and good. From the stars, they came here to Earth, caught in their struggle through the whole universe. Robotic warriors.
Sapia here. Welcome to Transformers for your listening pleasure. TFYLP for short. Join us and discuss the latest in Transformers fandom. And now, without further ado, here is Weird Wolf. Now, where did I put that chorus stop? Ratchet, can you take the chorus stop?
Only the strong will survive. Till all I want.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Transformers for your listening pleasure, TFYLP episode number 124, recorded October 3rd, 2014. I am your host, Weird Wolf. Along with me this evening is Plasticon.
How's it going, guys? It's been yet another week of awesome.
Yes. Almost wasn't because we had a major crash. We had something special set up a while ago and yeah. Now we're back on Google+. But, hey, we're still here. Headmaster Don.
Evening, everybody.
He is video only, audio only, because he's got a little cold today. And Brycey.
What's happening?
And special guest this evening is the owner of Reprolabels.com and the new Toystages.com. Mr. Aaron Black, welcome to TFYLP.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here. Yeah, like I said at the top of the show here, we had some technical issues. We was hyping up that we had a new setup and it was looking great, and then all of a sudden my audio completely crashes on my computer, and so we had to go back to our old setup of Google+. Yeah, so we had Skype running. Video was great, but maybe next time, you know, we'll work out the kinks. I mean, I had some positive tests yesterday with GeekExistence.com's Batosai, and it worked great. And such is technology, and such as let's see here But needless to say, we do have a special guest today. Aaron, you've ran Reprolabels for a number of years now and have provided a great service for many collectors, not just in Transformers, but G.I. Joe and other franchises as well, for fixing up your figures, and I must say that I am a customer. This is my childhood Cyclonus, Blue Ear Cyclonus, and I got this set probably 5 years ago or so, but he looks pretty much brand new, aside from some rusty screws. But I mean, he looks great, and it's all because of Reprolabels. And then I got another set here. We'll talk a little bit later, but you want to tell us a little bit about how you got started and history of Reprolabels?
Yeah, I guess I got started just by making labels for my own Micromasters. I'm a huge Micromaster fan, and they didn't come with a lot of symbols. So I looked into it and found some online, but none of them were small enough. So I knowing nothing about print, but knowing a little bit about graphics, I decided to draw them up and see if I can get them printed, and it just kind of went from there. Just one thing led to another. I had enough of them printed to put a few of them on eBay, and just kept deciding to make more sets.
Mm. Yeah, I know. I actually met you. What was the last BotCon that you attended? Chicago, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know what? It was Chicago. It was quite a while ago, though.
Yeah, I actually met you and I leave your wife there, and I think that's actually where I picked up my Cyclonus set. And I actually did a rebuild of a vintage wheeljack that I had. I had a wheeljack from my childhood that was really beat up, really yellowed, and I ordered a set of Reprolabels for him, and this has been like 6 years ago or so again, and I disassembled it, painted it, did the peroxide treatment on the plastic.
So they did that back then? I didn't realize you could do that.
Yeah,
6
yeah.
years ago. Yeah.
I did that, and actually I don't think I actually soaked it. I think I pretty much just kept rubbing it with the peroxide and everything.
Oh, okay.
But because I think there was a few things that was on pins that I couldn't get out. But I think my first set for wheeljack was before you actually started cutting them.
Wow,
And yeah, I had to trim them out and everything. I'm not really good with scissors, but he turned out amazing, and I wound up turning around and selling him for, gosh, I think it's like $100 I got for him.
And now I wonder how many people remember this, but you asked me how I started out, and the first set that we actually offered as Reprolabels, or at least as an entity that offered stickers, was a wheeljack set, and we didn't charge anything for it. This was testing everything out. We just wanted to get people's opinion, and it was a free set, and we just literally put it out there and said, send us your address, we'll send you a wheeljack set, and that's pretty much how it got going as a business.
And it might have been that wheeljack set that I got. You know, I mean, it was. I do remember it, and I think at that time I was still on TransFans or something, and I hadn't really started posting on TFW or anything. But I noticed, you know, you started gaining in popularity, and more and more people started talking about Reprolabels and the great service that you provide. Now I know that there are some people out there that prefer original stickers, and they think a figure is detracted from Reprolabel with, you know, reproduction stickers on a figure, and I kind of see that. But me personally, this right here, this shows me that, I mean, it looks new to me, and it restored a toy that I mean, his stickers before I don't have any before pictures anymore, but I mean, like these, the shoulders were almost completely silver. The Decepticon insignia was almost completely faded, and now, I mean, this sentimental toy is actually a lot more valuable to me now because of Reprolabels. And
yeah, well, in answer to that, I think everybody prefers original labels. I mean, you'd rather it be in its 1980s condition, but nobody's taking off perfect condition original labels and replacing them with Reprolabels. What you're doing is you're restoring toys that would have been pretty much garbage after or before Reprolabel.
I actually have heard of people that buy a mint in box transformer that has stickers unapplied, and they will actually buy a Reprolabel set, apply the Reprolabels, and keep the original stickers still intact. That way, if they ever want
all the people who think that Reprolabels is somehow tarnishing the archival quality of Transformers, it's the opposite. There's a lot of mint condition sticker sheets out there from the 80s that wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Reprolabels because of people in that situation.
I do that a lot with all my unused sheets. I don't like to use them.
Yeah, it's painful, isn't it, to grab a brand new condition 80s sticker sheet and start peeling it off and sticking it on the toy. I mean, that's irreversible, right?
Well, especially a very difficult to attain Japanese set, or the Japanese figures are becoming harder and harder to obtain, and some of the rarer ones, like Grandus and those. And if you had a Reprolabel set, you don't have to worry about damaging the old stickers or using them up,
Yeah, and in some cases it's pointless because, I mean, if you open up, let's say, a mint in box Action Master Megatron Fusion tank, and you try to apply those labels. So the adhesive after all these years isn't exactly as strong as it used to be. You might find yourself in a week just watching all of those labels fall right off. So
That's-
I mean, there's times when you don't even want to try it.
I've seen that happen with a lot of Sky Garys.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the questions I was actually, going to kind of ask was, over the years, adhesive just breaks down. It's just, it's a chemical thing. It just happens.
Yeah,
I was
it
thinking,
depends on the adhesive, though. There are some adhesives that actually get stronger over time, to the point where they can't be removed at all.
Yeah, I mean, me being a restore, because I restore and I also do customs, there are times that sometimes it's very difficult to get that old adhesive off.
Yeah.
In order to actually apply a new sticker or to even just do a paint job to one, sometimes the adhesive doesn't even come off. So I wasn't sure exactly how it would react with, like, the old sticker sheet, like from the 80s, and trying to peel them off and slap them on there. Because, you're looking
Depends
at...
on the sheet.
That's very true. Because I think some of them were like literally foil background, and then some were not completely foil, and the adhesive was kind of slightly different.
Now, that's another, actually, a great point that you bring up there, Plasticon, about customizers. I know one of the listeners and a good friend of mine, Victor Monroe, as well as former cast member Suede 66, they do a lot of customs with cassettes and everything. And, I know Reprolabels plays a huge part in a lot of customs. And
Yeah, I've used them on all mine.
Yeah, actually, this conversation we just had about G1 labels is actually kind of an old discussion, because these days we don't do a lot of sales for reproduction labels, even though we're still called Reprolabels. Because the fact is, most of our sales are for newer toys that never had labels, and we're coming up with unique cut lines and our own ideas. And that's actually where we're at these days. It's almost entirely a customizing business now.
And this is a good example here.
Yeah, I love that set. Justin actually designed that, intending for that to be a for sale item. Every now and then, though, a smaller deluxe size toy like that ends up with so many stickers that in order for things to be in line with the pricing on our website, it would have to be pretty expensive. So you're looking at maybe a $22, $25 set there, because it's two massive sheets of stickers.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we had a lot of people interested in it, and I figured I've been waiting to do a free set for a while. And a free set has to be something that everybody can get their hands on the toy for. You don't want to make 12 people happy and have hundreds of people unable to participate. So I thought that's a great one. Let's mass produce that and let's give it out for free. And that's what we did.
Yeah. Now this here actually has the render form upgrade set with the head. There's actually two of these guns that come with it, but to be more Deathsaurus-like, I added one gun and then gave him the guy over here for his shield. But yeah, it's an absolutely phenomenal set to a toy that originally I was like, meh, it's just another Beast Hunter's toy. And I'll admit, whenever I first saw it, Deathsaurus out of Beast Hunter's Dark Steel, nah. But then I saw the. It's one of those things where it was a perfect storm, the great Reprolabel set, and then the Reprolabel set did a lot for it, but I wasn't totally sold until the render form set came out, because to me the Dark Steel head did not fit Deathsaurus, and then now that set come out there, it made it more complete, and I'm like, yes, that's an absolute get for me. And then I also actually I ran across a Dark Steel at a Target on clearance for $6. Nice. And I'm like, so yeah, and it was the last one, and it was a big find for me.
Duran,
yeah.
Did you notice that the gun can be used as the tail?
Yes, I actually did. One of my photo shoots, if you look through on Flickr, I actually have it as a tail on there.
Looks so much better in beast mode with that.
But give listeners who have not ordered from Reprolabels, Aaron may recognize this. I have a set here and this is what I love to do, because I get occasionally a third-party product or two, and seeing as how third-party products seem to resemble a lot of original Transformers, you open it up, and of course you get your little thing there, and then this is something else that Reprolabels offers that I love, and that is faction symbols. Now,
those have come in real handy for me through the years.
Oh yes, and especially things that weren't originally intended to be Transformers, look a lot like Transformers. You can make them the proper put the proper faction symbols on them, and then you've also got, if you want to go even further, like Aaron said before, you got full sets that are available. If you guys want to talk about that, I'll pull up a screen share here of the website and show some off.
Well, like one of the sets I purchased from Reprolabels was the Menasor, the entire Generation 1 Menasor combiner Reprolabel set, because there was never a manufacturer that actually made the Generation 2 version of those, so I used those Generation 1 stickers to put on my custom G2 Menasor I did, but then I took the G2 logo factions that I got from them as well and put those over the G1 logos, so that way it completely covered them. And it turned out great. And everybody that's seen it and seen the reviews and such, that was Reprolabels that I got those from. So I do know there's a customizer out there that does make those stickers, but it's very expensive, and he isn't sure if he can actually clone them again the way he's supposed to for the G2. But that's mainly because I'm a Generation 2 fanatic. There's not very many people out there that are like me, so I completely understand.
Was on eBay?
No, I did not. And I'm sorry, I don't have that kind of money. I would have to sell my whole collection to buy one robot, and I'm not doing that.
What did it go for? Was it 12 grand?
27 or 28.
27.
Yeah.
I think it was closer to 20. Yeah, closer to 27. It's like 26 something. It was pretty insane.
This set was really nice. The reflector set.
Oh yes.
Perfect effect.
Oh yeah.
Now, what you see on screen right now is is a toy that didn't originally come with stickers. Matter of fact, the only real detail is either painted on or tampoed on. But this is Age of Extinction Deluxe Drift, and it shows some details that are added, and you got some knee details, feet, arms, chest. And see if there's some other ones here, and also on the car, you add the tail lights and faction symbols. Looks amazing, and it really
I should
enhances.
Probably give credit to who's actually doing these new sets. The last set I really worked on myself, start to finish, was the Generation Metroplex set, which I was very proud of. But I run a number of other businesses. I don't get to have a lot of time to spend on sticker sets. So these days we're working with a team that consists of Craig and Justin, Mike, and Ryan. So those are the 4 designers that actively work most of the time on the sets, and that set you're pointing at there is the result of a couple of their work.
Now, another thing that you also do is a few exclusive sticker sets. This is a sticker set from our sponsor, CapturedPrey.com. Great toys, great prices, great service. CapturedPrey.com. And this is a sticker sheet of like the Wings of Honor and the heroic Decepticon and evil Autobots for. These are really good too. And you did these especially for Captured Prey?
We print them for him, yeah. Yeah. He has full control over the design, and I don't even know what most of those symbols are, to be honest. He just tells me that they're important, and I print what he said.
Yeah, he's got the captured prey van on the hood of it. There's a amalgamation of the Decepticon insignia and the Assassin's Creed logo, and it looks really, really cool. And I'm just waiting for him to ask for a set of those to put on something.
One of the stats that I am not good with stickers. I'm not good with models. I'm not good with build. I can't do level 1 Gundam kits. They turn out in just like crud. But one set that I always wanted to get, but I didn't, and I mentioned this in pre-show, was the Alternators Wheeljack set. That was well beyond my skill level, but it really turned a car that wasn't Wheeljack for all intents and purposes, with that blue and white deco from the Ford Mustang, into something I could believe was Wheeljack. And that's probably the most amazing set that I can remember off the top of my head that just totally changed, that made a figure actually work.
Thank you.
I mean, you completely made a figure that didn't work into one that did, just with the quality of the labels. And I wish I had been braver to get a set, but it wouldn't have turned out good.
Well, that's one of those sets that people were on the fence about. Half the people who saw it didn't like it at all, and the other half thought it was amazing. So I'm glad to hear that, because I was the designer for that one.
Yeah. There was no gray area then. It was either one way or the other. There was no like gray area then.
Yeah.
I know. I was looking through some a discussion. Mega Toy fan Brett, he couldn't be on the show this evening, but he did want to ask a few questions. He was wondering anything about a Deathsaurus sticker set for, I guess, a vintage Deathsaurus, and also that's what he's asking for. And yeah, and also I guess shattered glass tracks.
Yeah, we don't do shattered glass, only because I have a lot of respect for other fans that are in the community who come up with their own creative stuff, and it's not that I feel like I can take from a large corporation and I won't take from an individual. It's just that what we're doing here is we started off reproducing Transformer stickers, and I want to stay within the confines of that mandate. I don't want to go in and take from other people's fanfic. And Shattered Glass is, while official, it is definitely somebody else's take on the Transformers thing, and I don't have permission from Master Collector or whoever it is that owns Shattered Glass. So I try to steer clear of it. So Shattered Glass probably won't be done by Reprolabels, just out of respect for the fact that there's other fans that own it. When it comes to Deathsaurus, though, I believe we do have a set.
Yeah, I used one a couple months ago.
That's for the classics or for the Prime toy, but there's also a G1. Is that what he's asking for?
Yeah, I believe that's what he's asking for.
Yeah,
I restored
if you go to the website and just click on G1 Cons, and it's in alphabetical order, it's right there. It's actually on the first screen if you're really using a big monitor.
I used one 2 months ago to restore a pretty crappy Deathsaurus.
There you go.
And also a shout out from Real Robot, Swage66. He commented on YouTube. He's simply Toy World Brainwave labels, yo.
I hear you.
But Reprolabels has been a great service for fans and everything. If anybody has any questions for Aaron during the broadcast, feel free to post them on our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/TFYLP, or tweet us at TFYLP. And if we see him during the broadcast, we will ask him during the show. And if you happen to be listening to this episode later on in a download audio-only format, or if you're listening or watching at a later date, go ahead and post it there, and we'll make sure that he sees it and can answer it wherever is appropriate.
Jerron, can I talk about what we're working on right now?
Sure. Yeah, I was getting ready to segue into that. So.
Okay. currently we're looking at changing the free giveaway set. We always have a set that we give away if you order a certain amount. And coming back full circle to what I was saying earlier about how I started making symbols for MicroMasters, we've come up with a way to do it now where we can make really, really small labels that don't have the typical problem of cut lines registering off-center with the graphics. It was actually Mike, one of our designers, that came up with this idea recently. His idea was to print the label on a clear stock, but because people still want that border to make it look like an original toy, print the white border as an ink color. So then it doesn't matter so much if the clear cut or the clear material is not cut properly, because that's not what you see. You see that white ink outline around it. And what we have, I don't know if you can, I guess you can't see this at all, but
yeah,
it's a full sticker sheet of 48 tiny little symbols, ranging from G1 to Predacons to Generation 2, any little thing that's important. We've got different color options on there. There's wrecker symbols, and they fit. If you're familiar with how big a MicroMaster is, they actually fit on the arms, right on the shoulder where they're supposed to. And these things are truly microscopic, and you can see all the detail. You can make out every line, and they're just fantastic. I'm having a lot of fun with these, and that'll be the next free giveaway when we switch that up in a few days.
That is awesome. Now,
Sweet.
Go ahead, Plastic.
I was about to say, because that's really sweet, because I'm a real big MicroMaster fan. I love the MicroMaster stuff. They're the coolest line that came out, because there's so many different options and stuff you can do with them. It's really cool to actually see that there's going to be some really nice little bitty stickers I can put on there, so they actually do have faction symbols I can put on them now, finally, because they really need it. There's really nothing to them unless you do that. So,
and
really,
would those also work well on mini-cons or Arms Micron figures as well?
Yeah, there's one here on Waspinator's head, the new mini-con. You can't see it where I am, but take my word for it, it's pristine, it's beautiful. We'll have some better pictures online when they actually go up. And you know, they're great for Power Masters, Headmasters, any little guy that came with even the original cassettes. Sometimes it's hard to find a place to put a symbol that's full size, maybe on your new KFC cassettes or anything that's just a small transformer that or even an overly detailed transformer. It could be a full-size transformer that's completely got all the details etched into it, and you just don't know where to stick a symbol. Well, you're not going to have to worry about it anymore, because these symbols fit just anywhere.
Yeah. My big problem with me, now, I'm no expert at replacing symbols, or stickers, but I've got big hands, big sausage fingers here, and every time I go to look for, I know we've got a pair of tweezers around here somewhere, but I can never find them, and I think that those are key for putting in on stickers properly, in my opinion.
They use an X-Acto blade, one of those sharp, pointy ones, just the tip. Set it down and then peel it out.
Yeah, because they're not heavy enough on their own to really set. Like, you need to press them down, right? So when you just lay this down with the tip of an X-Acto blade, it's just going to free float and hydroplane around until you're ready to press down on it. That's really all I do. I just wait.
That's where you break out the toothpicks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Evangelist, for your wise words when it comes to actually applying stickers.
I found toothpicks too thick.
Sometimes
they are, yeah. I know. Well, it's like, for example, these are actually original stickers, but like Roadbuster here, you know, some of those stickers on Roadbuster are like extremely small, and yeah, these are the stickers that really make me wonder. It's like they're covered up in vehicle mode. Why even bother putting them there? But you know,
that's the new one, right? That's the
This is a Generations Roadbuster.
Did you notice it came with a wrecker symbol?
Yes, but it's brown if you put it on the orange thing, and that's why I went with the G1 Autobot insignia.
Yeah.
But maybe that's something Reprolabels can fix.
It sounds like something that would be right up our alley.
Now, Wow, I had a thought, and it just completely disappeared. Oh, yes. Headmaster Don, you had a question that you wanted to ask before the show.
Yeah. Now, again, I don't know anything about 3D printing and about your process. It seems to me, though, that if you had a Venn diagram for both, at some point, 3D printing and what you do would somehow intersect in some fashion. So is the process at the point where it's streamlined enough that someone could send you a list of specific labels? Like if they had bought a collection of G1 Transformers, some stickers were good, some stickers were bad, but they didn't need a complete sheet of, say, Hound labels. They just needed certain labels to make the figure back to the way it was and not have a bunch of half-used sheets. Is the process streamlined, or do you think it could be streamlined at some point where people could say, this is a list of stickers that I need specifically, can you put them all on one sheet?
As far as whether or not it's as streamlined as 3D printing, I would say it's more streamlined than 3D printing. 3D printing is not as easy as it sounds. I mean, there's a lot of steps involved.
Right.
And even though it's meant for prototyping, it's really a pain for them to make just a few parts. So hats off to Shapeways because they've got that process down. With what we do, it'd actually be easier to do that. But there is a tremendous cost involved in purchasing and maintaining the type of machine that can do short-run labels. So we're talking being able to print white ink, being able to UV cure your ink, and being able to print the fine details that takes a certain type of print head that we require, and on all of the materials that we require. So all this together, and being able to do that takes a machine that costs a lot of money. Like I had to put my house up for my first machine, and it didn't stop there. I kept investing in more technology. I won't even say the dollar amount because it's crazy. But to have all this, I need to have before I even could commit to this kind of expense, I needed to know that a certain amount of dollars would be coming back in.
Right.
So to come back to your question, it probably wouldn't be financially feasible. It wouldn't be a good business move. It would be akin to, say, Michael Bay taking all of the best scenes from all of his movies and compiling them into one tape and saying you can have them all for the price of one movie. It would cost him a lot of money, and then he probably wouldn't be able to afford all of the actors that he pays for. It's a lot like that. It's not that I couldn't do it, it's just that it would sabotage my business, and I wouldn't be able to get the money back that I need in order to pay the lease on those machines.
That's fine. I was just thinking, down the road, if that's something we can look forward to, like labels a la carte. Just pick and choose the ones you need as you need them.
It may be. It would take a shift in the technology. So if my next printer was even better at that and a lot less expensive, and I felt I needed to stay on top of the trends that way, I would definitely be the first one to do that if it were easy to do, if it were feasible. But at this time, it wouldn't work.
Basically, right now, doing it would just suck.
Yeah, it would grind our business to a halt if everybody could just order single individual labels. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, one of the biggest reasons why I was thinking, because Dawn asked me that question earlier,
My bad.
Whoa, what are you
Sorry.
doing? Wow, really?
Sorry.
Anyway,
It's off early tonight.
No, I accidentally clicked on something.
Jeez. Anyway, but what I was gonna say to that was it would require a lot of manpower to be able to go through and pick out every single solitary label somebody wants, and then have it actually printed, and then make sure that's the correct order going out. And then you got to think, if you have 4,000 people that want these kind of orders, that's a lot of manpower. So that's why it's easier just to do
an hour. I mean, there's no way you could charge a reasonable price for an hour's worth of work.
Well,
People are only going to look at the fact that it's a sticker sheet, right? They don't want to spend $20 for a tiny little sticker sheet with 3 labels on it. So you could never make up for all the hours it would take to reorganize them all and set that up for press.
So what you're saying is they're better than those tiny ones?
Yeah, because these ones are undercoated, so you've got the white outline on that. What you're holding in your hand is just a single color on each symbol. These are way more impressive. You've got a clear label with a white border and the colored symbol in the middle. It's just they're great. You kind of have to hold them in your hand to see, and these are actually a lot smaller too.
Smaller than this? Holy crap!
Though you'll probably you will most likely have to have an X-Acto knife to apply those.
Oh yeah, maybe even a sewing needle or something. An X-Acto knife might not cut it.
Wow. Before we move on to Toystages, want to kind of highlight. I know you mentioned a few people before, but you don't work alone. And I want to give you the opportunity to highlight people that help you make things happen behind the scenes at Reprolabels and Toystages, and let you list everybody and give them a mention and say about what they do.
Okay, we'll start with the people who work here. I'm at work, by the way. We'll start with the people who work here throughout the week. Now, they don't only work for Reprolabels. I have other companies, and this is a print shop where we deal with other businesses. But I do exploit my staff to help with Reprolabels as much as possible. April does a lot of that. She does the customer service for Reprolabels and fills the orders. But I also have an amazing designer named Ryan who was just basically born to do stickers for toys. This guy's a genius. And I've got Roxanne here too, who helps with a lot of the things that I don't have time for. So that's my core team that actually comes to work every day. But aside from that, there are some extremely talented designers who work from afar, and that would be Craig, Justin, and Mike, who I mentioned earlier. And Justin's actually part of another team. We also do print for Cobra stickers, and Justin is the designer for Cobra stickers, as well as a couple of people who help with Cobra stickers. A different guy named Mike, and RJ is the head honcho at Cobra stickers. He's the guy who does all of the customer service and some of the major decision making. As far as other people involved, I've got some invaluable acquaintances like Bryce here, who takes some amazing photographs and just generally gives me advice whenever I need it.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned that you have some people that work on other stickers. What other franchises do you offer stickers for besides Transformers?
Well, there is Sticker Fixer. It's kind of a small site in comparison, and that's pretty much headed by one guy. But that guy happens to also be our webmaster. His name's Bill. So for Reprolabels, he takes care of maintaining the site. And yeah, because it is just him, and because we cast kind of a wide net where we just said, hey, everything that's not G.I. Joe and not Transformers is going to land on Sticker Fixer. It never really took shape, other than maybe the mask section. There's some mask sticker sets that kind of do well on Sticker Fixer. Other than that, it hasn't really taken off yet in terms of finding its niche market. It was just kind of like the dumping grounds for everything that's not Transformers and not G.I. Joe. That said, though, of course, Power Rangers is a big part of Reprolabels. That's under the same umbrella, and we put that right in with the Transformers stuff on Reprolabels.
Has there been any request? I'll get it out here in a moment. Any requests for say Brave series, the Yusha Brave series?
Oh, all the time, yeah, all the time. In fact, I agreed to help people make it. I don't know if Ben's listening, but I did agree to reproduce some of the Brave sticker sets and see how it went. But unfortunately, the person who was supposed to send us the samples never did, and it kind of died there. It wasn't a public thing, so nobody else stepped forward to lend them to us. But if that were to happen, if we were to be able to acquire toys, at least for a month, to get our hands on them, because we want to make sure the cut lines fit. We don't want to just reproduce the originals. We want to change them so that they're actually better than what they were. And probably scans of the original sticker sheets wouldn't hurt either. If we can get our hands on that stuff, from what I hear, it's a good idea to do some Brave stickers.
Does it matter if the stickers are, can you reproduce stickers even if they've already been applied?
Yeah, we can. It's obviously easier if we don't have to, but either way, we draw everything again. So even if we were sent a scan we would never just print the scan. We always redraw it, recolor match it, and then apply it to the toy and make changes to the cut line. So it's never a final thing, even though we think it's identical to the original. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but especially with Transformers, a lot of those stickers didn't fit in the first place. So we need to make changes to make sure and test it. So we would never release a set without having actually applied it to the toy.
I've actually got a few Brave toys. I might be willing to send them to you to let you work on them if it'll help out the fandom and everything. But that would be really awesome because a lot of fans that have listened to this show know that we had a couple special episodes on Brave a few weeks ago, and I think it's a underestimated or underproduced part of the Transformers fandom that they don't realize how awesome these Brave toys are. And the Sonic Kong stickers, quite frankly, are terrible. And I know Hang Hip Chan, he mentioned a few episodes ago that even some of the Takara stickers are bad. But I've got a Brave Legend of Dagarn Pegasus Saber that the stickers, I've applied a few of them and they're already peeling off, and it's really annoying. What happened?
Plasticon's bouncing on and off.
Oh. Yeah, that's his connection.
My internet sucks. I'm sorry.
But that being said, Brycey and I, we tend to do a lot of photography with toys, and that lends itself to one of the great things that you're offering now with that is rolling out, and also with people that like dioramas and displays. Tell us a little bit about Toystages and the rollout and how it came to be.
Toystages was something that was suggested to me time and time again, and every time somebody said it, I had to explain how I don't do that kind of printing. My printers aren't good for it. It's not a good business idea, and I just kept fighting it. And then I don't know what happened. I just realized one day that, you know what, these people are right. I should be listening to them. This is exactly what people want. And I don't know if that happens to you guys, but I'm pretty dense sometimes, and I won't listen to people because I think I know everything. But all of a sudden, I just woke up one day and I said, wow, that's the best idea in the world. Well, what was I thinking? And yeah, I started from there, and I've been working on it for maybe 7 months now. And obviously, the people who help me with Reprolabels and Cobra stickers they don't have any time to help with this sort of thing. So I had to find a different team. So I went out and I found a team of artists who are absolutely spectacular, and they started painting. And here we are, 6 months after that team was put together, and we've got about 46 different images that we print in a multitude of sizes.
Awesome. Yeah, me personally, I love reproducing G1 box art poses with toys that are able to do it. And one of the things I've been wanting so badly is a background that looks like the G1 box art to display the toy in front of. And Brycey's got one right there for the Decepticons. I so want one of those. Yeah. I mean, I've so been waiting for those, and whenever I saw Toystages pop up with that, I'm like, as soon as I get some money, I'm grabbing one of those, or a few of those. I want, like the Decepticon, the Autobot. If you come out with the kind with the later with the pixelated ones that like the '87
Season
bots
3.
and everything, yeah. If you come out with those, I'll be all over those too. Because I mean, it just lends it to the way I like to photograph my toys, and that was a phenomenal leap for me. And then Brycey won me over with one of the photos that he posted recently that he took for you that had I believe Hound and Cliff Jumper, Classics Hound and Cliff Jumper. It was like that classic scene where they're overlooking a power station. from the original cartoon. It's like you put the toys in the cartoon, or the cartoon with the toys, and I love it. Great.
Yeah, we can see a couple of Bryce's shots if you want to flip over to the Toystages website where you are there.
Okay. If you guys want to talk a little bit, it'll take me a second to pull this up.
Well, I'm not usually one for doing dioramas and such. Just it's not something that I do. But when I saw some of these stages, there's like, everyone knows I'm a big Headmaster fan, and when I saw these stages, I was thinking I would love to have an interior shot of Fortress Maximus that I could put my Headmasters in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, will people be able to go at some point, or like vote in a poll, or maybe list on a Facebook group what backgrounds they want to see?
Oh, absolutely.
Just so they can just get their name in there.
Polls are going to be a big part of our future because there are so many great ideas out there for backdrops that our artists won't even be able to keep up with them. So we're going to have to make some hard decisions, and the only way to do that is to get opinions from everybody. If you click on scroll up a bit and click on the gallery link there, there's an image. Scroll down a little more. You see in the bottom left-hand corner, you see it says gallery. There's one of Bryce's shots right there now.
Which one? Oh, this one right here.
Actually, a lot of those are. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's.
Now, see, that's exactly what I like to do with my figures. You know, that's the G1 box art pose, and yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I got a question though. I mean, and I asked Brycey about it, and the gap that's right there. Is there a reason for that, or?
It just stylistically, it reminded me more of the box, or the G1 box, because if you're looking at a G1 box, there's a lot going on. There's a window there, there's a flap, there's a logo, and there's a symbol, and all that stuff is missing. So we had to do something to kind of just give it a little bit more depth. And if you look at a G1 box, the top flap where it has the transformation sequence and it says change and it has the arrows, that's in a separate grid. So we, looking at the two options, having just one grid or two separate ones, it seemed more like the G1 package altogether when you separated it.
Oh, now this is one that's classic. Yeah. I mean, that is just, yeah.
Now, I keep asking these questions as probably before the technology gets up to it. With the San Diego set, that with the Dinobots and the pop-up arc, I know that's a completely different level of display from what you're producing. I understand that. Yeah. But let's say you wanted to reproduce from the movie, again, this is just what I'm thinking, when they're under the water on Quintessa from the '86 movie.
Yeah.
Could you have a pop-up, like if you wanted like plants that could pop up in the middle, or a forest setting that you could open it up and have a limited, there's so many scenes from season 1 and season 2 that take place in generic forest number 1.
Yeah.
So I mean, was that something you might look at? Again, I'm thinking probably way down the road versus what you can do now.
Well, again, if anybody could do it, I could. But again, it's not that I can't. It's that the amount of effort required to do a pop-up or a 3D papercraft type of scene is equal or greater than the amount of effort required in offering 10 new backdrops.
Right.
So it would severely limit our selection down the road if we focused on more things like that. My idea is that somebody else will come along someday soon and offer papercraft dioramas, and I think that'll be fantastic. And I hope somebody does it really well and knocks it out of the park. But it's not what we're doing. We're going for more selection. We're going for more of a target audience than even just the Transformers community, because we've already done G.I. Joe and Masters of the Universe, and we're looking at doing a lot more lines. So our strategy here is to hit a lot of these different hit as many bases as possible. Whereas I think if somebody else were to do a papercraft theme, they would have a couple of really amazing dioramas, and you'd look at the site and you'd probably think, well, it's kind of sparse. They don't offer a lot, and that's because it would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to really put all that together if you wanted to do hundreds of backdrops that way.
Yeah, but it would also work really well with y'all's dioramas that way. Like say if they made just the trees or the bushes, that could be a 3D representation, and then buy your backdrops to put them on.
That's a very
Everybody
good point.
wins.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Well, you've also got model kits like diorama kits that you can get like off of Amazon, like the little trees and everything that you could actually use in conjunction with, say, the Toystages, to put in the foreground to give it that more 3D depth effect.
Model railroad trees or things such
exactly.
as that.
Yeah, I guess there's an entire industry already. What am I talking about? It already exists.
Yeah. Well, here's some good examples of non-transformer dioramas. I guess you could use it for Transformers, but this is like a G.I. Joe diorama here.
That'd be an excellent one for the G1 Insecticons.
Oh yeah.
Pretty sure we got a shot with those.
And then you have the Masters of the Universe with Evil Lyn here. That's pretty awesome. Now you've got Masters of the Universe, Joe, and then just general toys here, I guess. Night City, Day City. I guess they could be used for virtually anything. Of course, you got Rooftop here for TMNT. Yeah. Now that's nice. I like that.
We were supposed to be working on an entire line for TMNT this week, but I've had to put that on hold because we're redoing an entire product offering, because we've been doing what we call cube shelf backdrops, and what they're actually for is IKEA's DTOLF glass shelves, and unfortunately due to an oversight on my part, they don't fit all that well. They're 13 inches tall, but the DTOLF shelves are actually almost 15, and like depending on which shelf you're measuring, some of them are even more than 15 inches. So what you end up with is a gap over top of the image. And I'm not happy with that, and so we've gone back to the drawing board. We're going to be reprinting everything. Anybody, as of a couple of days ago, who was ordered the old ones has received an email asking if they would like to wait for the new ones. So we're not going to be surprising anybody. But what I would like to say is anybody in the past who has ordered these short 13-inch ones are going to be offered as well replacements at no charge for the larger ones. So looking forward to unrolling that, but that's the only thing holding us back from doing more backdrops for the next week or two.
My best friend is getting into doing diorama photography using his figures and pre-existing dioramas, and Flickr is there's just tons of people, that's their hobby, is recreating scenes with scale and light and shadows and all that. So you've got a ready-made audience right there with just the people that like doing the scene recreations.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I actually have a lot of respect for people who do dioramas, in the same way that I have a lot of respect for people who do custom toys and who can paint or make a toy from scratch. I can't even get my head around some of the stuff that's being done out there. But just in the same way that Reprolabels is the poor man's custom, I think of Toystages as the poor man's diorama, and that's not to say that it's not valuable. You can do a lot in a very short amount of time with Toystages compared to the hundreds of hours that go into these full-scale dioramas.
I've seen some G.I. Joe dioramas that were just almost spot-on scenes from the cartoon, but it's like dominoes. How long did it take to set that up?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of standing up G.I. Joes.
But my thing is, myself, being more or less a filmmaker, I have a backdrop that I use that I got from the old Lego studio sets, is what I use. And I'd been thinking about getting a hold of other backdrops, and all of a sudden this came into play, and knowing that you're the one doing this now is actually really, really cool. And I've been really wanting to get a hold of more backdrops, because I like to change things up when I do a review of a toy, or if I decide to do my own commercials, because I do my own commercials of toys as well. And I would like to be able to get a hold of some of those myself, because those things are just awesome. I think that would really add a new element to my studio and the way I handle doing stuff with those.
Thank you.
Hmm?
This I'll have to admit, this is one of the recent photos that I actually did with one of my figures, Fans Projects Quadruple U, and I've been using some props here recently. And the reason I actually started doing these, I have to admit, I attribute to Toystages, because it inspired me to set up scenes, and if I had a toy stage to go behind that, I mean, with the 3D actual physical product in the foreground and then a background, can you imagine how that would look? And it just really fires the imagination, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And I think it's a really awesome thing to offer.
Great.
And
Thank you.
so many applications, like Plasticon said. I mean, he could use dioramas for his filmmaking, and Brycey and I, as photographers, it's something great. And then the IKEA DTOS, I mean, as you can see, I've got some here in the background, how it would look to have an actual backdrop in behind the glass case. And
I mean,
that's
I
all
agree
fine.
with you on that, Daron, when it comes to actually displaying toys. Sometimes it just looks kind of like a crazy mess when there's really no thing behind it to actually kind of, add to what you're trying to do. And I've seen guys do custom cases and stuff like that, and those are cool, but this is going to add a whole new element to the collector. It's like, okay, I've got, like, Metro Titan and, Sky Gary and, all these big city bots. Why not have an awesome city in the background that's represents Cybertron or something, so it really makes them pop and stand out versus just standing against the back of a blank wall.
That's why I
really does
posted the
that.
pictures of my Billies with them in, just as people could see how they look like when they're actually set into the shelves. Because they turned out nice, and ended up sitting in the room for like 20 minutes staring at it. Just like, that looks way better.
They have that effect.
Right, see, it did look amazing. I saw the pictures. They did look very amazing, and I really think this is a great investment. Some people might think it's a little pricey, but who says you have to buy them all at once? Get them as you can. But honestly, that's chump change. But then again, it's chump change compared to if you're saying, okay, I want to take this certain thing and turn it into, a nice background. Well, if I take that photo and I try to take that to some printing company, it's going to cost me $30 before I know it. This is the cheapest way of doing it, and a lot of people don't understand that, especially whenever it comes to like producing things. Because I mean, most guys don't know as much as I do. I mean, me being a filmmaker, I've seen how much this stuff can cost, and it's like, that's insane how much that costs. So actually having a new outlet, something, a nice, great thing added to the scene of giving us like nice backgrounds for any type of toy diorama, is just like phenomenal. Please keep doing it, and please go into Godzilla, for God's sake. If you do some of those, do some blown up cities and stuff. People will buy them.
We have some great ideas coming.
They will just
in that area.
They'll go like that.
And actually,
I guarantee you that.
Talking about cities, what about the big guy like right here? I mean, it would be at an enormous toy stage, but I mean, a cityscape to put behind Metroplex or Fort Max in vehicle or in city form. Basically maybe a playmat type deal.
I was about to ask that, like, because your Brave Max was the only one that really ever came with a playmat. I would just absolutely love a playmat that you can put, like your Generation 1 Metroplex or your Grandis and stuff, to be able to actually have like an area that's cut out for it to specifically sit on, and it just have like a new element added. Because if you do that and then you got an awesome background that goes behind it, it really just makes the whole thing pop. Especially
I don't know if anybody's mentioned this yet, but we do have floor pieces that go with the backdrop.
Oh yeah,
right here.
But
this is the Nemesis.
Like a generic arc type of floor that you might see in the cartoon show, and they go together. Like the Bryce has got one there, and the graphics line up side to side. in any direction. So you can just, like, Bryce has some that are taped together. So you just
Let's
turn them
do
over,
them.
you tape them together, and you've got any size playmat you want right there.
Nice.
I've got the sand, nemesis, and water right now, but I'm planning on getting a bunch more.
Any maybe thoughts of doing like reflective ones for to kind of give like a like it's standing on glass or something?
I haven't thought of that, but that's not a bad idea, especially in a detail. It'd be a nice effect.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see a hologram. If you could do
Oh,
maybe a hologram type. Because, I mean, come on,
something from my
the 80s and
visionaries figure.
90s, everything had holograms. If you could do maybe something like, I mean, something just as simple as like maybe like a black background that has just maybe like an Autobot symbol or Decepticon symbol that's a hologram, just right smack dab in the middle. That would be sweet.
I want something for my visionaries figures. That'd be perfect for my visionaries.
Well, I mean,
Hey.
well, I'm giving him an idea. I don't know if anybody's ever popped that idea on you, but I mean, holograms are awesome. I mean, kids nowadays, they still like holograms. I don't think it's a thing that's died out at all. I just don't see much of it anymore, and I don't know if it's the expense cost or what it is, but holograms are awesome. I mean.
Yeah, it's not something I've ever printed before. I don't even know how to do it, so it's probably not for me to do. But it sounds like a great idea.
Or challenging at that, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, I guess it's an idea that you can dabble in, and if you like hire an artist, you can ask them if they know anything about holograms.
Yeah.
If they do, that might be a whole new element you can add to this stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask is there a set that you wanted to? What's the one thing that you want to do but you've not been able to do yet? You know
Not been able to do yet, or not being able to do anymore.
As far as Reprolabels or?
Oh, I'm sorry.
or
Yeah,
Toystages,
Reprolabels.
or-
Is there a set that you wanted to do for a certain character but couldn't because of logistics, or just one you haven't done yet that you want the technology to get closer to do it? Just your dream project, I guess.
I can honestly say that I covered just about every one of my dream projects, with the exception of these really tiny micro labels that we're doing now. That's probably the last thing on my bucket list of sticker sets that I wanted to get around to. But no, I call the shots in a sense. Like when somebody has an idea, I decide whether it gets done or not. And unfortunately, if I like it, if it's a toy that I have a lot of respect for, it'll get done. Just even if it's not financially feasible, I still make it happen because I'm a collector at heart and I just want to see what I like. So no, there really isn't anything left. Maybe an upgrade set for Fort Max if I had to come up with an answer. That hasn't been done yet, and I think that it probably should be done.
Cool. Thank you.
That is awesome.
Well, one thing I was just curious of, because, being an adamant collector, even getting into Diaclone and such, the background for the Devastator that they had for Diaclone, have you ever thought about maybe doing a homage similar to that?
Yeah, that would actually be pretty
Or
cool.
just Devastator?
Yeah.
Because it actually did come with a backdrop that looked really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys maybe dabbled with that background at all, or kind of was like, okay, that's interesting. How can we modify it and make it, a little more ours, or make it work with G1 or G2 Devastator,
Or some of the Mach-A toys, or TFC
or Hercules, or any of those. Yeah.
Oh, now this is just me brainstorming. Inside Unicron backdrop.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I don't know if it was from you, but I've heard that suggested before.
Yeah, for the Mach-A toys Quantron.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're all great ideas.
Aaron's getting this flood of ideas, and he's like, okay.
It's like, oh wow, I didn't think about that one.
What page was
There's
that
very little
poll
you
on
can say that
again?
I haven't heard.
Yeah, what page was that poll on again, so I can go vote for all of them?
We'll get there.
Well, the great thing is this is being recorded live, so later on he's like, "What did they? I forget what he said." And then he can go back and
Rewatch
listen to
the
it.
episode.
Oh, rewind it, and oh, okay, that's what he said. Okay, cool. And then maybe he'll be able to. And the cool thing is he'll be able to show this to his employees too, and his employees will be like, okay, I see what these guys kind of want now. So.
How long is this show? Because I have to pay my employees by the hour.
It's we're right at about an hour right now. And,
yeah, see, I'm going to pay them for an hour to watch this.
all you really need to do is just say, hey, send them the email, tell them to watch it at home at the
either that.
Some of them probably would be.
Either that, or just download it from iTunes or Stitcher and listen to it on their iPod while they work.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, they
were. You can do that. You can have the audio version going or something.
Yeah, but I did share this on the Reprolabels Facebook group, this video and everything. I do want to also mention one other sponsor. I know I mentioned Captured Prey earlier before, but I also want to mention our other sponsor, Mega Toy Fan, megatoyfan.com, and you can also reach him at facebook.com/mega.toyfan for all your vintage Transformer needs. And of course, Reprolabels.com and Toystages.com for both of those. Aaron, is there anything else you wanted to tell us about from Reprolabels and Toystages?
No, I don't. I mean, unless you want to hear about all the stuff that's on the designer's desk right now.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
He happens to have the, I don't know the official name for it, the Wreck-Gar and Cycle bikes.
Salmore.
Yeah, Salmore, and I don't know what the junkyard is called, but and he's working on all 3 of the Fall of Cybertron jets, and they look amazing. He's doing this weathering thing now that just looks like paint's chipped right off, and there's metal exposed underneath. It's really great.
Wow.
And Tigress. Everybody's been asking for Tigress. Of course, we're doing it, and it's done. And Bryce is taking pictures of it. It's just not online yet. So that's coming up. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and that of all the toys in that set, the Dive Bomb set has or Talon has these like a million of these feather labels, and it's very impressive and everything. But Tigress has a lot less, and to me, it looks even better. Just a couple of touches of that chrome gold, it changes the toy a lot.
The chest plate, I really liked how that was done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now that's the Mastermind Creation Furo Rex, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you have on the designer's desk that you can tell us?
He hasn't started working on it, but on his desk right now is Legends Gears, Legends Acid Storm. Of course,
possibly doing
designers out there. Craig's working on Generations Jetfire, and I can't promise there won't be a Rainbow Dash version of that toy coming out too. So yeah, take that for what you will.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brony? How about My Little Pony Reprolabels? Any thoughts on those?
Oh, yeah, people have been telling me to do cutie marks for years, and I couldn't even bring myself to see the words cutie mark until recently. I've got a 6-year-old son who watches it, and I am actually starting to enjoy it. I don't know if I should be ashamed of that, but it's a pretty well-written show.
If you do any, I'm gonna try to find about 5 different mock kicks and just put one on each mock kick and make a little set.
Yeah.
Flutter kick.
Flutter kick, yeah.
Jeez.
Or a mock shy. But
So are we gonna do? Are you guys planning on doing like a Reprolabel version for taking a Generation 1 Optimus Prime and just turning it into like a Brony carrier?
I think the only one we've got perhaps planned is the Rainbow Dash Jetfire, and I don't think it's going to be a regular set that we offer. I think it'll more likely be something we actually apply to a bunch of Jetfires and donate it to one of the Brony charities. It'll just be a fun thing that we think needs to be done.
I can imagine someone doing an Optimus Prime and it says Glue Factory on the side of the Prime's trailer. That would be the...
Is there a reason behind Jetfire for a My Little Pony crossover?
Well, it's a white blank slate. It's an empty canvas, and there are red parts, and red is one side of the rainbow spectrum. So it's really easy to make that transition by applying other labels next to the red edges.
Oh.
It just looks like part of the rainbow.
Now, Aaron, I don't know if you've seen Screw Attack on YouTube does a series called Deathmatch, and there was a deathmatch between Starscream and Rainbow Dash.
No, haven't seen it.
Yeah, I won't spoil the ending. It's very funny, and Starscream being some very similar color palettes to the Jetfire, with that being a thing that's very popular, you might even use the classic Starscream mold.
Yeah, is that coming out again soon, or like what's the availability on a classic Starscream these days?
Well, I'm sure there's plenty out there from the previous reissues. Yeah. I know they're using it for the
saturated market.
Yeah, the Collectors Club is using it for the G2 Starscream and the Nacelle.
Yeah.
No, the Nacelle is the thrust mold.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you could. I'm just wanting to let you know that with Jetfire being such an expensive figure, you might could find the classic Starscream a little bit cheaper, possibly.
Yeah, possible. Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, I was reading a comment by one of the listeners, but it was more of a comment, less of a question.
Well, let's hear it.
It's kind of unrelated. Did you miss Star Wars Rebels?
Does that have to do with anything?
Wow.
You'll catch the show tomorrow.
Is this the Star Wars cast?
Well, actually, that is a good question. Has there been any thought as to maybe doing Star Wars Reprolabels for Star Wars toys?
Been thinking about it for years, and I've always been a little intimidated when Lucas owned it. Now that he doesn't, I don't know what to make of it, legally speaking, if it's something that I could dabble in and nobody would notice, or if I even need to worry about it, because, I mean, if they're just upgrade sets and we add a few details, there's not really a legal concern. It's just one of those things, and it seems like such a massive project that I just haven't gotten around to it yet after all these years. And now we're even thinking of doing backdrops that would be appropriate for Star Wars figures, which I actually have a lot more ideas in my head for than I would for stickers.
Yeah. Well, my ideas for like Star Wars figures, or not figures, but more or less vehicles, would be like blast marks and pock marks and scratches, and just because that's a hallmark of the Star Wars universe, and like Star Trek, where most of the vehicles and everything always look clean and pristine, Star Wars vehicles almost always look junky and worn and old, and the toys didn't really reflect that. I mean, I know there's some here of recent years that kind of started adding on tampo details, but I know my wife's got a Empire Strikes Back, I believe, AT-AT, and it's just plain. I mean, it's flat gray, and I just wondered, what it would look like if there was any thought as to maybe putting, like wear marks or anything on those.
Yeah, I think it would be amazing if we could find, the manpower to do it.
Just spreading so thin is a problem, I'm sure. But
yeah.
Well, is there anything? Anybody else have any other questions?
Well, the only question I really have is, what has been your requests for Generation 2 Reprolabels? Like, getting
No,
hold
it was
of,
coming.
I mean, honestly, like, how many times have you been requested to do Reprolabels for G2?
I calculate there are maybe 10 people in the world who give a damn about G2, and I'm one of them. I am one of them, but even for myself, and I said before, I'll often push through projects just because I like a toy. I can't bring myself to do it because there's just not enough demand for Generation 2 legal.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's kind of sad because I got some G2s that are like, I need stickers for some of these guys so bad, it's not even funny. And I'm just like, some I got in the aftermarket and completely had none, and then some it's like, okay, they got a few, but the stickers are kind of just falling off, and it's like, do I sacrifice pulling off the sticker because it's just going to fall off anyway, or do I just, well, what do I do? And I'm like, I would really like to see G2 get more love. And I wonder if maybe you dabbled and put out a couple sets of G2 and see where it went and see if anybody got into it. Because I've noticed there's been a bit of a resurgence in G2 lately. There's some people that's actually getting into it more.
Yeah, I think if there was enough demand, I would know about it just because my email account would fill up, and I would notice the faction symbol sales increasing, which it really hasn't. But I'm in the same boat as you. I come by it really honestly because I've got a cabinet there full of every U.S. Action Master, and a lot of them need labels so desperately. I haven't even done those because I just won't be able to recoup the time and money that it would take to replace those labels. Because the Action Masters are the same way. There's just not that many people looking to restore them.
Transformers that don't transform. Why? I mean,
I don't understand why there's such hate for those things, because they're actually pretty cool. I mean, I've got a few Action Masters, and I think they're kind of neat.
Yeah. And I've always, I'm sorry to segue like this, but I've always loved the idea of non-transforming Transformers. It doesn't necessarily mean that the characters don't transform, but I've always felt like another possible avenue for the toy line could have been to include both modes in either one of them transforms, so that if you're one of the rare people who, like me in their 30s, still play with their toys instead of just putting them on a shelf. I don't know if you've ever pretended that they're doing anything and then had to stop for half an hour while you transform it. Even if you don't play with your toys, you did when you were a kid, you know what I'm talking about. It's a pain in the ass, and I thought it would have been a great sideline if Action Masters had come with vehicles to represent their transformations and maybe not necessarily actually be able to transform. I think we would have gotten toys for cheaper, a lot more of them, and it would have it just would have added a lot of play value.
I can agree with you at that, because there's a couple sets that came out. I'm not actually sure if you're even familiar with this, but Generation 1 Countdown came out in the Micromaster line, a complete different color. And it's literally the same toy, except for it was designed for the Micromaster guys. And then there was also
Microman.
Microman it was for the little Microman. And they did the same thing with the Optimus Prime truck.
Oh, hang on, I got it. I'll get it for you.
Oh, you have the green one?
Yeah. It's buried in here, but here. This is what you're talking about, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Which there's some people, they have no idea that even existed, and it's the same thing with the Countdown. The Countdown's very rare to find, though, because it had a lot of translucent plastic. It did have some gold, which I don't know if it suffered from GPS or not, but it was an amazing toy.
It's not GPS gold. It's just colored the same, but it's not going to break. I can tell. I know the difference, and it's just, this is the good stuff.
Right. And that's the thing. I don't think a lot of those lines didn't get as much love. And I mean, like I was saying, we're talking about maybe Diaclone and stuff like that. Diaclone, I think, would probably turn a pretty good profit if you were able to get a hold of some of them. But some of these guys are so rare, like the Great Robot Base and Fortress X and all those. To get hold of stickers for those sets is very, very, very difficult to do unless you own them yourself.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, like I said before, we're selling almost no reproduction labels anymore. Relatively speaking, it's almost all about the new generation's toys, Masterpiece, that sort of thing. So, to think that there would be a market for Diaclone or Action Masters or Generation 2, it's really hard for me to imagine at all.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Well, is there any other questions anybody has? Don?
No. I'm sorry. I heard the word Action Masters and just sort of tuned out on reflex. So.
You didn't tune out at My Little Pony.
Hater.
Sorry.
Hater.
I was there when they came out. I'm like I said, I'm old. I'm 44. I went from that to that, it was like, what? No. So, sorry. That's just.
All right, Bryce, you have anything you want to say?
Nope, I'm good.
Nope. Okay. Well, Aaron, I do want to take an opportunity to thank you for coming on the show, and hope that you've enjoyed your time here.
I have. Thanks for having me.
Invite you to come back anytime if you have anything new that you want to talk about or unveil. We'd be happy to have you. As a listener note, I want to announce that next week our guest will be Rick Alvarez from Play With This 2, former Hasbro employee. They have put together a company that is really got some really intriguing designs out there, and a lot of them are based on, if you're familiar with the Pretender shells from Generation 1, like Skullgrin, that is one design that's been floating around out there and looks really fascinating, and really interested in seeing where they're going with this, and other ideas that they have, and a little info on the background of that company. So we're going to have Play With This 2 on the show next week. He is also looking into possibly getting another person to come on with him, and we'll keep you apprised of that.
Yeah, guys, you don't want to miss it. I talked to Rick yesterday, and the scope of Play With This 2 is so much bigger than anybody realizes at this point. It is something to watch. Don't miss the interview with Rick. Yeah, it's really amazing what these guys are doing.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, whenever I'm not even a huge Pretender fan, but the very first design that they show, and it's very clearly a Skullgrin type look. And even though I'm not a huge Pretender fan, the Pretender Monster Skullgrin means a lot to me, because my brother actually bought me Skullgrin as a kid, and that was one of the first toys my brother ever bought me. And even though I don't have that toy anymore, I still have a lot of sentimental attachment to that character. And so I'm actually a huge Skullgrin fan, and whenever I saw that and some of the alternate names for some of the heads,
yeah, I couldn't believe those names, but
yeah. But hey, you know, they are aimed at adult collectors, and so I think that's okay, and really excited to talk with Rick next week, and anybody else he might have on the show. We've also got some really big news coming up very soon involving TFCon USA, and don't want to release anything just yet, but because we're trying to hammer a few things out. But stay tuned to our social media outlets and tftalk.net for any update on that. But we do have something huge that is going to go on at TFCon USA. So please stay tuned for that. Again, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that everyone has learned a little bit about Reprolabels and Toystages. And again, if there's any listener questions after recording here, if you listen to the download or watch the YouTube later on, feel free to pass along any questions that you may have, and we'll make sure that Aaron gets them. Or Aaron, do you actually have a email address that you want to be contacted at directly?
No, not really. There's the best place to send it is, believe it or not, the Facebook group, because there's about like every one of the designers is on there, and there's about 8 or 9 other active members that know the answers to a lot of the questions that might be asked. So you get your answers a lot faster if you join our Facebook group.
Awesome. And we'll actually post a link to that in our Facebook group shortly, and make sure people are aware of it. And again, thank you once again. And guys, Brycey, Don, Plasticon, thank you guys for being on this week. And we will see you next time on TFYLP.
This has been Transformers for your listening pleasure, a presentation of tftalk.net. We'd like to thank you for listening and ask that you please rate us on your favorite podcast outlet and share us with your friends. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at TFYLP. Email us at podcast@tfylp.com. This is Paul Lighting, and on behalf of TFYLP, we'd like to thank you again for listening. And we hope you'll join us next time for another TFYLP.